Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and lo and behold, it finally happened! I got a hold of a Crimson Court box for Warhammer Underworlds. This warband, more than any of the other ones, has been the most difficult one to acquire. And I don't know why. I'm assuming because it just was new vampires for the Soulblight Gravelords, or whatever they're called now. They're always going to be vampire counts. But, I mean, they're really nice looking sculpts. There's absolutely no denying that. But it's not like GW didn't put out a bunch of other, vampires. Anyway. With only 4 models in the box, I feel like I'm pretty confident in the fact that I can get these painted in a somewhat reasonable fashion. As is always the case with the Underworld's warbands. Oh, crap. Dang, look at that. That sucks. That sucks. Wow. You know, I don't even want to open it. I'm going to just contact GW about that. That's like through at least the first 3 or 4 cards there. Dang. Well, that's okay. It's not like I'm going to get to play the game anytime soon. And it's not like I'm going to play it unpainted either. So, as is the typical case, I think I was saying, the warbands are all going to be on the 2 half sprues, if you're not familiar with the game. And everything is going to be push fit. Hopefully it's going to be a little bit better fit than the Sea Elf one. To me, that was very troublesome, and I can see that like there's these little loopy strands and wisps of hair on a lot of the heads, and even on the edges of their cloaks. Hopefully, as I wait for things to try to get back in focus, that's not going to be much of an issue. Bases look to be about 32 millimeter in size. I think this is a 32 millimeter base, and it's a, yep, okay, good. My eyeballs are working. That's one. So, like I said, these are, if you haven't seen the comments online, these are absolutely going to be huge models. I believe this is the female's body. Yeah, she's going to be standing a good head or 2 taller than our Witch Hunter friend there. Best watch out, my friend. Usually I'm not super into vampires, but I've been reading Mike Mignola's Lord Baltimore comics, and that's definitely got me in a vampire mood lately. So, this is going to be a fun one. Is that a foot with debris? Okay. 2 feet with debris. I'm assuming they're going to go on this model and they're going to slide in. I have no idea. We'll find out, though. I mean, it doesn't look too complex. It certainly doesn't look like too many tiny parts, and at least the parts that are tiny don't seem like they're going to be much of a challenge in terms of removal, other than like little fingers trying not to smash those off, which I have a bad habit of. But I think it's going to be a nice little kit. So, give me a sec. We will get these men and women of the night all put together. We'll grab some other Warhammer Underworld's warbands, see how they all compare, and hopefully we'll get started on them soon. Sit tight. Well, we've got the Crimson Court all put together, and big thumbs down to GW for deciding no, they were not going to take care of those cards at all. That was really lame and cheesy of them, but it is what it is. So I gotta say, that was quite disappointing to find out, but at least the figures are decent. Let's take a quick look here. So, much like the more recent Underworld's figures, the bizarre plug-in joint system they've got going on, I mean, it works, but it's kind of a pain. And I've had an issue with getting the foot pegs on just about every one of these figures. They really didn't want to cooperate being attached to their base. I thought our friend right here was really difficult with his individual feet. You can see there's a little bit of a gap still. They're not 100% jammed on there. And while he's not glued, it would be nice to be able to take him apart to actually paint the interior of his cape. That's going to be a bit of a challenge. He is neat looking though, and I do need to clean that up better. Our typical vampire count. Again, it took me a while to actually get him as close to the base as he is currently. with the recently announced Cursed City expansion with no miniatures, this might be a nice alternative. I still have yet to get her. You can see she's kind of floating on the base here, the lone female member of the group. Well, I think is kind of the coolest, actually, but she just will not sit flush on that base, unfortunately. And much has probably been said already, but I think it bears repeating just how tall these guys are. Now, I get it, they're not human, but, I mean, here's just our regular old-fashioned witch hunter friend. And I mean, like, this dude right here at least isn't standing on any kind of real scenic debris, whereas the other three are. And you can see they're a good 2 or 3 heads taller, grabbing a assortment from various human-sized warbands from Underworlds, which at one point I had painted every one of them. You can see, I mean, they're towering over them. So I think in respect to their size and stature of, you know, being big elite vampires, I think they work really cool. I think they're really hitting the mark in that regard, but not everybody wants big, giant, imposing vampires. Me, I don't mind. I mean, considering, like, the 3 Soulblight guys that came out, you know, that they're using for that new expansion, they all were on, like, 60mm ovals. I mean, they're gigantic. And I'm honestly kind of tempted to pick some up myself, but I think for what they are, in terms of models, you get a lot of bang for your buck here. Each one's basically their own individual, you know, hero character, where you can get all 4 of them with the included cards still, if you're lucky. Hopefully not with a big puncture mark like mine. Thankfully, it was just like the little lore fluff thing on the one card and one of their stat cards that got messed up. At least the main deck is okay. But, you know, I don't know, GW's pricing just kind of irks me, and the customer service and getting that card replaced was really late. But it is what it is. Again, at the very least, the figures are really nice looking, and for the respectable price that they are going for compared to their other Soulblight compatriots, you know, I really can't complain. Hopefully I'll get them painted soon. I don't have a whole lot of leftover unfinished Underworld's warbands at this point. I have 2 that I can think of off the top of my head. The Ideneth and the Overlord ones. Those are still not finished, but hopefully one of these days they will be. Again, really nice figures. A bit iffy on some of the weird plug-in push-fit parts that don't want to cooperate, especially on the bases. But overall, great looking set of figures. Very interesting, dynamic, and imposing, to say the least. So if that's something you're looking for in your vampire models, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with these. So with that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, and thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.